I was going to make separate videos about my thoughts on the Equestria Games and Daring Don't, but Dave Polski was kind enough to throw himself to the wolves that bucked and explain the thought processes that were behind them, so I could combine those videos into one I'm calling Surprising Doesn't Necessarily Mean Good. The reason for this is because he said his creative decisions for those episodes were made because he thought they'd be surprising. Well, in that case, mission accomplished. They were definitely surprising. However, just because something's surprising doesn't necessarily mean that it's entertaining. Let's set the Wayback Machine to 1994. Star Trek The Next Generation finished its 7th and final season, and the idea was to start making films with the TNG crew since the original crew was getting up there in both age and salary. Star Trek Generations was meant to be a bridge between two generations, with Kirk and Picard fighting a bad guy together. It was also decided this would be Kirk's final stand as he would die in the altercation. However, because the writers did not want to do what was expected, Kirk, the second most iconic character in Star Trek next to Spock, dies because a bridge collapses out from under him and is buried in a shallow grave on an uninhabited planet. Which is actually better than the original plan to have Soren, I said Soren with an A, shoot Kirk in the back. The Equestria Games rings much the same way as Star Trek Generations. They started this arc of preparing for the games at the end of Season 3. Sportsmanship and modulating competitiveness was also a subject the series hadn't touched upon since Season 1, so having one of or more of the main six take part in an athletic event in an Olympic analog would make sense. It makes so much sense that Polski said nope and proceeded to write a Spike Saves the Day episode. Nice bait and switch, Dave. With all honesty, how the Equestria Games played out makes me more wish the arc didn't exist in the episode itself. The Equestria Games arc had been rather weak, except for Flight to the Finish, which could have been made to stand on its own with minimal changes. Many have said that we should judge episodes on their own merits, which I agree with, when the episode is meant to stand on its own. When you have a multi-episode arc, however, the episodes within the arc don't have that luxury. This is especially true of the climax of the arc. It's meant to provide the payoff. Yeah, we get no payoff. We don't even get Rainbow Dash's team beating the Wonderbolts in the aerial relay because we have to have Spike Mango Cloudsdale's anthem for comedy! As just a random episode, Equestria Games works, but as the end of an arc, I honestly feel cheated for being carried along with it. However, Daring Don't is a different matter altogether. Polski said that it would be fun and different to make Daring Do real instead of following the obvious plot. What obvious plot would that be? That Daring Do is a work of fiction? Because that's what she was when they first brought her up, so her stories could be as campy and unlike the tone of Friendship is Magic as they wanted. Sure, making her real took guts, but that doesn't mean that's necessarily a good idea. And it's not like there aren't plenty of fun and different ways about meeting the author while keeping Daring Do fiction. Though his explanation for the plot before this was even more laughable. When asked how Ahuizutl was supposed to take control of the sun that Equestria's High Ruler plays frisbee golf with every day, Polski said Ahuizutl was delusional and really couldn't take control of the sun. And the first thing to pop into the bottomless well of sarcasm is my sick and depraved mind upon reading this was, oh, so that's why Daring Do had to delay her book 2 months. She was waiting for Ahuizutl to stop taking his meds again. I really don't have a taste for contrarian stunts for their own sake. Going against the expected just to go against the expected is not a good strategy. The reason people appreciate violating expectations is because it's more difficult to pull off correctly, and succeeding is a sign of prowess. However, anyone can do B when A is expected, so there's no real reward for trying, as failure tends to leave you with a mess and people asking why you didn't just do the obvious thing. That's why being predictable is not always bad and being unpredictable is not always good. Granted, the stakes and possible rewards are higher when you're unpredictable, but you better have a really good idea to pull out for it. Equestria Games and Daring Don't sadly weren't. And while we're on the subject of the Equestria Games, whose dumb idea were the magic canceling gates? Prince Shining Armor? The Equestria Games Committee demands you install these magic disabling gates at the games. Why would we want to disable magic? To prevent cheating. What about public safety? Unicorn magic is our chief means of handling an emergency. Are you saying I don't run safe games? The games I run are perfectly safe and perfectly professional. That's why some unicorn can't be allowed to use their magic to cheat. The gates go up now. If you're so worried about cheating, why don't we put up a barrier between the field and the stands? I was actually thinking of doing that during the ice archery tournament because of how dangerous those ice arrows are. I don't think you understand. These gates were built by an important backer of the games. They will be how we deal with magical cheating, and all unicorns will be going through, including you. But I'm the chief of security. I don't care. Pompous twit. Excuse me? They'll be installed in just a bit. I'm Al1701, and thank you for listening.